News channels investigate and report news involving a world-renowned vacation spot called the Rezort. A decade earlier, a virus known as Chromo Syndrome spread across the planet, infecting nearly 2 billion people. The virus did not just kill its victims, it regenerated them. The dead came back as zombies. Pharmaceutical companies refused to pursue a cure, and governments responded by launching the Brimstone Protocol, a series of airstrikes meant to wipe out infected zones. In the years since, most of the undead have been destroyed. The few that remain are confined to a remote island in the Pacific. Billionaire Valerie Wilton, a high-profile CEO, transforms that island into an exclusive holiday destination called the Resort. There, wealthy thrill-seekers can hunt zombies for entertainment. Around the island lies a vast refugee camp maintained by a charity named Hope for You, Valerie charity organization, and presents herself as a humanitarian, easing the refugee crisis, though her motives are questioned. Meanwhile in London, a woman named Melanie sits in an empty dark room. She is here to attend a support group, but no one showed up. Desperate to get better, she persuades her husband Lewis to visit the resort, believing the experience might help her confront her fear. Later that night she wakes up after a nightmare. She then starts to watch a video of her father that was recorded as he is about to die during a zombie war. Days later the couple lands at the island's airbase, alongside other guests, teenage influencers, Jack, Alfie, Sadie and Archer. While waiting for their flight in the airport lounge, Melanie and Lewis share a drink. A small girl holding a doll approaches and smiles at Melanie, but her mother quickly pulls her away. Soon after, the guests are escorted to the island by a high-speed military-style boat. When they dock, cameras flash, music plays, and the tourists seem eager for the adventure that awaits. Before being allowed to participate in the hunts, everyone must complete weapons training at a shooting range. Melanie handles her firearm with unexpected confidence. That night, the guests gather for a lavish dinner. Valerie Wilton, the powerful CEO, gives a polished speech about the resort's mission to help survivors overcome the trauma of the zombie war through controlled confrontation. She then presents a restrained zombie on stage for the guests to see. The creature snarls and struggles against its chains, thrilling the audience. Valerie describes it as a preview of tomorrow's hunting experience. The crowd applauds, believing her every word. Away from the party, Sadie quietly slips out. She moves through restricted corridors until she finds the resort's control room. Using a portable device, she overrides the system's security and copies confidential data onto a flash drive. As she exits, Archer spots her emerging from the restricted zone. The next day, inside the control room, security staff discover Sadie's breach. Panic spreads among the engineers, but fear of their ruthless boss keeps them silent. They decide to cover up the incident and fix it quietly. At sunrise, the guests head out in armored vehicles for their first zombie safari beyond the resort walls. But as security tries to seal the main gates, the automated system begins to fail, an early sign that something on the island has gone terribly wrong. The hunting zone, the instructor gathers the group on a raised platform overlooking a field filled with slow-moving zombies. He explains the rules and safety measures. Sadie hesitates when handed a rifle. Lewis, eager to see his wife relax, urges Melanie to try. She lifts the weapon and peers through the scope, locking eyes with a female zombie wandering aimlessly below. The creature's hollow stare freezes her in place. Melanie lowers her gun, unable to pull the trigger. Nearby, Archer shoulders his weapon and fires with mechanical precision, landing a perfect shot. After a while, the group drives deeper into the wilderness, toward a secure campsite, where they'll spend the night. As they unpack, Melanie confides in Lewis that she regrets the trip, calling it pointless to spend a fortune just to kill something that was once human. Lewis, trying to stay calm, tells her not to think too much and to make the best of their time since they've already come this far. Back at the resort's control center, chaos spreads. The engineers realize the breach they ignored has grown far worse. The head of security finally admits that someone infiltrated their mainframe. Moments later, the system crashes completely, security locks disengage, alarms go dead, and surveillance feeds go dark. Across the island, cages burst open as the restrained zombies awaken and begin to roam freely through the once-controlled paradise. Elsewhere on the island, another hunting party finds itself under siege. The tourists, once laughing and posing for pictures, now panic as zombies swarm from every direction. One man manages to shoot a creature in the head, but a second wave attacks from behind, dragging another guest to the ground. Screams fill the air as the survivors scatter into the dark forest, abandoning their gear and each other. Back at the resort, chaos spreads like wildfire. The undead overrun the buildings, attacking anyone in sight, guests, guards, and workers alike. In the control room, engineers frantically try to regain control of the system, but the infected zombies break in before they can finish. Within minutes, the operators are torn apart, their blood splattering across the consoles. Valerie watches the carnage, when the same female zombie she displayed the previous night locks eyes with her. Terror consumes her composure. She bolts into her private office, sealing the door, and leaving her staff to die outside. Moments later, the system detects total collapse and automatically triggers Operation Brimstone, the island's self-destruct protocol. From that point, every remaining person has only hours to escape before the entire facility is bombed to ashes. Meanwhile, far from the main compound, Melanie and the others remain unaware of the outbreak. Night falls at their campsite. As the fire crackles, Melanie and Sadie quietly open up about their past, why they came here, and what they hope to heal. Their calm ends abruptly when Melanie spots a lone zombie staggering toward them from the trees. She shouts a warning, urging Sadie to fire, but Sadie freezes. The creature lunges forward, and just as it's about to strike, Archer's shot rings out, killing it instantly. The tour guide, shaken, insists such an incident is impossible. Zombies are never supposed to breach the safety perimeter. To verify, he switches on the vehicle's floodlights. The beam reveals dozens of figures emerging from the darkness, an entire horde advancing toward them. The men open fire as the zombies close in, while Melanie and Sadie scramble for safety. One of the undead lunges at Melanie, nearly biting her, but Sadie drags her away at the last moment. They climb onto the roof of the vehicle, trying to stay out of reach. The moans of the dead grow louder in the dark. Alfie, the younger YouTuber, loses his grip while trying to climb up. A zombie seizes his leg and bites deep before Lewis reacts, shooting both Alfie and the creature to prevent the infection from spreading. Archer calls for silence once the immediate threat ends. The survivors, exhausted and shaken, remain on top of the vehicle through the night, keeping their weapons ready. The forest is alive with distant growls and the sound of footsteps they can't see. At dawn, they take stock of their situation. The guide explains that they have only a few hours before Brimstone's full detonation, which will level the island and burn away the infection. He tells them that in any outbreak, their best chance is to reach the communication tower to request evacuation. But with their transport wrecked, the odds look grim. Archer insists they move on foot, arguing that staying put means death. The group follows him cautiously through the trees. At one point he halts them, claiming he hears movement. Moments later, a zombie clutches them, tackling Jack. The guide manages to shoot it just in time, saving him. They continue forward until they find a crashed safari vehicle pressed against a damaged fence. One by one they crawl through the narrow gap. But as they do, a swarm of zombies emerges from the tree line. The group fires continuously to cover the others until everyone is through. Suddenly, one of the undead slips in and bites the tour guide. Knowing he's infected, Lewis takes a breath and shoots him before he turns. As they press on, Archer admits this kind of chaos feels familiar. Killing zombies is all he's ever known, and in a grim way, it's the only thing that makes sense to him. Soon, they spot the communication tower in the distance. Before advancing, Archer turns to Sadie, demanding the truth about what she did in the control room. When she hesitates, he threatens to leave her behind. With no choice, Sadie confesses. She belongs to a radical group called Living 2, an organization fighting for the humane treatment of zombies. Her mission was to steal documents exposing the resort's cruelty and shut it down. But her group betrayed her. When she downloaded the files, they secretly uploaded a virus through her flash drive, destroying the system and unleashing the outbreak. The revelation crushes her. Sadie realizes she caused the deaths of hundreds without knowing it. The rest of the group blames her for everything that happened to them. To reach the communications tower, the survivors must pass through a decaying building complex, littered with torn flesh and bloodstains. Moving cautiously, they slip inside without making a sound. As they navigate the dark tunnels, the group is forced to split. Archer, Melanie, and Lewis end up in one passage, while Sadie and Jack are pushed into another. Archer's group manages to reach an exit undetected, but the others are not as lucky. Zombies swarm Jack and Sadie. In a frantic struggle, Sadie fights to free Jack from their grip, but is bitten in the process. Realizing her fate is sealed, she hands Jack the flash drive and tells him to escape before she turns. Jack hesitates, but her screams push him forward. He reunites with the others, breathless and shaking, and together they flee into a fenced compound, as zombies claw at the gates behind them. Inside, they find a dim hallway lined with metal cages. Some contain restrained zombies, suggesting they were once used for harvesting or experiments. Without warning, a zombie drops from the ceiling and bites into Jack's neck. He convulses as infection spreads rapidly. Archer raises his gun and ends Jack's life before the transformation completes. Now only 3 remain. They continue deeper into the compound and stumble upon a sprawling area that looks like a refugee camp. Signs and banners bear the logo of Hope for You, the same charity Valerie Wilton claimed to lead. But the truth becomes clear. The camp is a facade. Refugees lured here with promises of food and safety were turned into zombies to fuel the resort's operations. Among the undead, Melanie recognizes a familiar face, the little girl she met at the airport, now transformed and snarling. Her cry draws a swarm of other infected refugees. The trio retreats down the corridor, slamming one door shut while another is blocked by the horde pushing through. As zombies begin to overpower them, Melanie calls out for help. Instead of staying, Lewis grabs a hanging chain, hauls himself toward the open roof, and abandons them without a word. Archer, seeing no way out, tells Melanie to run and not look back. He stays behind, drawing the attention of the horde to give her a chance. Archer fights until the last moment, taking several zombies down before being overwhelmed. Melanie races across the rooftop, surrounded by rows of suspended corpses. She goes up into a lobby crawling with the undead, searching for a way out. Suddenly, Lewis appears before her. He looks weak and remorseful, and admits he regrets abandoning her and Archer. Melanie notices a fresh bite mark on his arm. Without a word, she raises her gun but can't bring herself to shoot. Instead, she hands it to him, giving him the choice to end things himself. Moments later, a wave of zombies storms the room. Melanie manages to escape to another dark room. She keeps walking in a dark hallway. Suddenly, Valerie drags her into her office, locking the door behind them. Valerie insists that the only way out is through an emergency exit, but Melanie confronts her for turning desperate refugees into products for profit. The accusation enrages Valerie, who lunges to grab the gun. It slips from both their hands and falls to the floor. Before either can react, zombies crash through the glass walls and swarm the office. Valerie screams as they pull her down. Melanie snatches the chance to flee, running through corridors. Outside, explosions begin tearing through the island. As the Brimstone Protocol activates in full force, Melanie springs toward the edge of the cliffs and dives into the ocean. Just as waves of bombs engulf the resort, helicopters circle overhead, watching the island burn to ruins. 3 weeks later, Melanie appears on global news, revealing the truth about the resort and its exploitation of refugees. Her testimony spreads worldwide, exposing the horror hidden behind luxury tourism. In a quiet bar somewhere far from the chaos, Archer sits alone, alive. He listens to Melanie's broadcast on television. She speaks about the past war against the undead, saying humanity may have survived but lost its soul in the process. As her words echo, a live reporter covering the aftermath sees a group of zombies approaching. She turns and looks at the horde in horror, and that's how this story comes to an end. A tale of love, loss, and redemption. Thanks for watching Film Fan Fiction. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell icon so you never miss the next story. See you in the next video, where every movie tells a new story.